kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove your strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify. The things that you believe in have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives that aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, you know, don't look a thing. I do this for I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Trappist Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams. I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, you know, don't look a thing. I do this for I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Oh, yeah, y'all. Shout out to everybody for being here. Thank you. Hey, shout out to my pops, man. I do this for you. Sorry trying to get situated, guys. I have a lot going on over here on this end of the table. We're just trying to get it back to, you know, what we do and how we do it. If you're currently watching me on the Discord, you can't see me in the top right corner. If it bugs you, go to YouTube. You can see me there. I apologize if you can't see it any other way. I will be posting this to Patreon for free for all the free members. We'll call it the ACC show, and I'll provide my analysis and things of that nature. We're going to start cross-posting to Patreon, so you can just see all the live streams on Patreon for all the free members that are there and on the Discord. Shout out to everybody in the TikTok world. If you're watching us, thanks for watching. I don't interact with TikTok during the show. If you want to interact, come to YouTube, come to the Discord server, and we'll be with you. All right, guys, you guys know the deal. Today is ACC Monday. I talk about the ACC. I talk about all independent teams and Conference USA, and then whatever's trending in sports. I did not get a chance to make a video of this on TikTok. I probably will later tomorrow or tonight. I want to talk about the AP rankings and the coaches poll, right? So we're looking at the top 25. A lot of people stop putting value into these rankings the minute the committee starts coming out with their college football playoff rankings. They feel like those hold more weight. You'll even see ESPN only use the committee playoff rankings and not these poll rankings. But what you need to understand is these rankings right here dictate strength of schedule, and they influence the committee. The committee will determine and decide whether or not you have a good win based upon ranked teams, and it's based upon these damn polls that we don't trust. So let's look at the AP poll first. As you can see at the top, they still have Georgia, then Michigan, Ohio State, and Florida State. Whatever, they're all undefeated. The only one left out is Washington. My biggest issue here is Washington can't be the worst undefeated team. They have played an amazing schedule. They've played the toughest conference, and they look good doing it. They went out there and they beat USC. I don't think the teams up top really want to play USC. You got to go out there and score 50. You got to see if you have the offense to score 50. I don't think Ohio State does. It's one of those things that's problematic. But Washington, they've already proven themselves time and time again. I like where they're at. They might not go undefeated. Who knows? But if they do, one of these teams is going to drop back and go down. It'll be worse. But I feel like the rankings are fine. There's not much you can do about it. The fact that Penn State is all the way down to 9, having lost to Ohio State in a close matchup, it's kind of bothersome to me. Like the polls, you got to be consistent. You either respect Ohio State and Michigan or you don't. And if you respect them, then Penn State should be up a little higher because they have the best loss in America, right? It feels like you're rewarding Oregon because you think they're better than Washington. I'll respect that. That's fine. But Texas looks gross. Going to overtime to beat K-State. You don't belong up here. Bama's on a tear. They're looking really good. And I guess Ole Miss and Louisville keep moving up by default. Having one loss, they just keep moving up by default. But the worst one-loss team in America, outside of Tulane, is Louisville. Why? Their one loss is to Pitt, which is embarrassing. You can't lose to Pitt. You got a bunch of two-loss teams. Shout out to Oklahoma State, shooting all the way up to 15. Makes you wonder, how do you move up to 15? Because you beat Oklahoma. But how good is Oklahoma if you drop them all the way down to 17? Oklahoma's one loss away from being in this damn poll. It just tells you these guys don't know what they're doing. They go and move a team all the way up to 15. They're 7-2, bro. How are they more impressive than Arizona? Somebody tell me how they're more impressive. Oklahoma State is more impressive than Arizona. Arizona's 6-3, barely gets into the rankings. Make that make sense. Just barely crawls in. They just beat 3 ranked teams in a row. They beat 3 ranked teams in a row and lost to Washington by 7 points. Have you seen Oklahoma State's loss? Have you seen one of them? They got nearly shut out by South Alabama. They lost by like 30. Arizona's losses are when they had a different quarterback. Arizona's losses got nothing to do with the team they currently are right now. It's amazing. The disrespect is absurd. I don't get it. Shout out to Liberty for finally making it. And then when you look down here and you see who's voting, who the hell's voting for Air Force? I just watched them get blanked by Army. Air Force shouldn't get any votes. UCLA just got smacked by Arizona. If you're putting UCLA in the poll, I think you're tripping. Shout out to SMU. SMU's a good team, you guys. Respect them. They're a good team. Nobody should be voting for Duke. Duke's offense is the worst. They're hard. They are so hard to watch. They are not getting it done. There's injuries, things like that are happening. Love West Virginia. West Virginia and Oklahoma State are very comparable. You're going to see how comparable West Virginia is when you see them play Oklahoma. Listen to what I'm saying. West Virginia is built like Oklahoma State. You got a dominant run game. You got a really good secondary. West Virginia's not bad, man. Shout out to A&M for getting the vote. And the nerve of some people to keep voting for Clemson. The nerve. But, yeah, these are the rankings. I really hate the coaches poll. The coaches poll is, you know, you're going to vote for your buddy. Hook your buddy up and vote for your buddy. They look similar. They look similar until you get down here and you start paying attention to who got votes. It's nuts. You start looking and you go, man, is Liberty still not ranked? And not only are they not ranked, they're not even close to ranked. You got Iowa ahead of them. Somehow explain that. Iowa in the coaches poll, everybody respects Kirk Ferentz. Now you're voting for coaches. The coaches poll is respect for coaches, not teams, coaches. That's crazy. USC dropping out of the polls for the first time since Riley's been hired over there. But, you know, not seeing USC ranked makes sense. I still think they're better. I still think USC could go and play Fresno State and beat Fresno State. I think they're better than Tulane and James Madison if we were playing. If we're comparing the rosters and the teams, if you had to go play them, USC beats those teams. They do. But their resume doesn't. Right? Their resume doesn't. USC already beat Arizona. Come on now. What's the record? What's USC's record? Are they 6-3? What's their record? Somebody tell me their record. Let me go back to the Pac-12 real quick. Trojans 7-3. 3 losses in the last 4 weeks. They got 3 in the last 4. Looks really bad. But they beat Arizona. You got the same record, and you beat them head-to-head. What's up? And you're that far behind in the polls. That's the type of stuff that'll make you just scratch your head when you look at these polls. It's like, man, they just don't give a shit about these people, bro. They really don't. But probably can't rank them. Hey, shout out to some of these FCS polls here. I'm excited. I don't know how Furman got all the way up here, but Idaho's a good team, y'all. Get ready for Idaho in the playoffs, Montana State. I don't talk about a lot of these teams. I got a lot of respect for some of these teams, though. I know all the players on their teams. Montana State, loaded. Idaho, respect. I'm with it. I'm with it, man. I'm really excited for this stuff. And obviously, Colorado School of the Mine's undefeated again. We'll see what they're ready for. Fair State ain't worried about it. But anyways, we'll stay focused tonight. Hey, we got an NFL football game tonight. I gave out my first locks ever for an NFL game. I gave out a parlay prop. Gave out a ladder prop. And I'm saying it was plus 130. I can't pass it up, bro. Let me see something real quick. I have it right here. So I gave out a free play. Oh, there's a couple of them I gave out. I'll show you guys, though, since you're here. This one I gave out to the MVPs. Plus 134. We're talking about the Chargers. Alternate spread, as long as they don't lose by 20 points, which won't happen. They could even win the game, right? And then the alternate over by both teams. This is where it gets dicey. Zach Wilson and Justin Herbert both go over 200 yards. And then Austin Eckler, 25 rushing yards, alternate rushing yards. All these are alternates. It's a whole alternate parlay. I think it's guaranteed to hit as long as Zach Wilson throws for 200 and Herbert throws for 200, right? The rest is all mathematically, it's mathematically impossible to miss. So you put a unit on it and you flip your money tonight. Easy. Bet 20, you make 40. Bet $20, you make 40. Bet 50, you make 100 tonight with this parlay, right? This parlay is going to hit. Shout out to the MVPs who got it early. Hope the lines are still the same. But the one I gave out for the ladder play is right here. It's Breece Hall for 70 yards. I did add his receiving yards just to get you extra pay. But right here, Bryce Hall for 70 yards, plus 130. Simple enough. Just go rush for 70 yards, bro. Get us paid. That'll flip your money tonight. Same thing here. Breece Hall, 70 yards again. This time I added his receiving yards. This is a little high, the 25, but it pays really well. 20, I think, is, if you go to his over-under, it's like 20. You can combine the 20, and it goes a little lower. But I just went ahead and said, give me 25. I think this happens, but obviously I feel really comfortable with the 70. But if you're being real MVPs, I think it'll happen. So watching the game, cheering for these Jets to get some offense going. I like the over in the 40.5. I like the over. I think each team's going to score around 20 points. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully the Jets don't have to settle for a bunch of field goals like they usually do. They can finish their drives. Chargers aren't great. Jets got good D, but Chargers can light it up if they get that kid rolling, their quarterback. I'm not a big fan of him. Anyways, good luck with that tonight. I usually don't do NFL plays, but we're going to see if I can do those NFL props if they hit. I feel pretty comfortable with it. I hope you guys believe in it, and we'll go from there. Let's look at Independence for tonight. Independence, Holy Cross at Army. I don't know what the spread's going to be for this game. Holy Cross has a good football team, though, guys. I was just showing you those rankings. Holy Cross is a good team. Let's go in here real quick. Maybe it'll tell us the spread. Usually you don't get a spread on an FCS level game until you get closer to the game. But Holy Cross is 6-3. If you look at them, this is a good loss to Lafayette. I know it's tough. But Harvard has a dual threat quarterback, and he ran all over Holy Cross. Harvard, in this game right here, dual threat quarterback, ran all over them. Where is he at? Oh, no, it wasn't this game. It was a different game for Harvard. But it doesn't matter. He still got 89 yards. They don't do well with running quarterbacks. Now, Sluka is the truth. Sluka's a great player to watch. If you guys have never seen him play, he lit up Virginia earlier in the year. Sluka's a great player. I love the team of Holy Cross. I don't think they match up well with Army. It's going to be rough. I'm curious to see what the spread is. Army's obviously extremely motivated after they're getting their third win of the season. Yeah, third win of the season over Air Force, dominating them on the line of scrimmage. It was all about Daly doing his thing. That's your quarterback, and he rushes all day long. But I like Holy Cross, man. I like Holy Cross a lot to be competitive. I want to see what the score is. It's on the road. It's at Army, but I'm interested to see what Holy Cross can do. I like them a lot. I'm just letting you know. They got a high-flying offense. We'll see what's up. I like Holy Cross in that matchup. I know it sounds crazy. And then UConn at JMU. I think UConn might get shut out. I don't see UConn scoring. The spread's huge. MVP level lock. I won't talk about it more than that, but there you go. Looking at Conference USA for the week. Old Dominion at Liberty. This feels like a game Liberty might have problems with. Liberty's got a run-oriented team. They can run and keep converting, but Old Dominion can score with anybody. I'll leave it at that. Sam Houston, we hate them. We don't believe in them, but they're going on the road to La Tech. And La Tech, as good as their running backs are, they just don't get it done when they need to. Not sure on the spread on this game, but it's a coin flip of a game. I wouldn't bet on it. FIU at Middle Tennessee. I believe Middle Tennessee's double-digit favorites in this game. I think Middle Tennessee can score on these guys a lot. FIU has slow defensive backs, and Middle Tennessee State has fast wide receivers and good ones, okay? Or at least one good one. So when you look at Metcalf and Mitchell here for FIU, you want to think he's a good player. Metcalf is a good player. Jenkins holds the ball too long. I think they're going to start Grayson James this game, double check. But I don't think Middle Tennessee's going to have a problem in this game. Yeah, the spread's 12.5. I just don't know if I can even – now that I'm talking about it out loud, y'all, 12.5 is a lot of points for Middle Tennessee. They don't have a great defense. Obviously, losing a slugfest with New Mexico State was crazy. But look at that. Let me take this back. Middle Tennessee, let me be clear. Shutting down Diego Paiva like this is really interesting to me. You held New Mexico to only 13. You lost, but you held them to 13. They've also had games where they held Missouri to 21. Middle Tennessee can go out there and do some damage. I think FIU might be in trouble by a good margin. Coin flip, stay away. There's my gut instinct telling me stay away. And then New Mexico State at Western Kentucky. A lot of people go, Rico, are we taking New Mexico State on this? Probably not this week. I don't think New Mexico State defensive backs can keep up with Kentucky wide receivers, Western Kentucky wide receivers, especially Corley. I love Paiva. I love what they're doing, but it just feels like there's more team speed for Western Kentucky. So this is the one time. Look at that, 57.5 and then -5. I don't think they get to 57.5. I think the under's in play there. Western Kentucky does not consistently get first downs and drives. They get a lot of punts, a lot of 3-and-outs, even with Austin Reed throwing the ball. And then New Mexico just grind out the game. But, my goodness. 57.5. Feels like a lot. I'm more interested in this type of score right here. 21-13 type score. I feel like the under's in play, and I think Western Kentucky can cover that spread, but the under's got to be in play. I would imagine. Just outside looking in, 57 feels like a lot for these two teams. And then we'll go over to the ACC. Virginia at Louisville. That's a weekday game, so it's an MVP level lock. All I can tell you is buy MVP, and you'll know what I think of the game. Virginia Tech at Boston College. Let me double-check my chart. Bear with me, y'all. Ooh, buddy. Just want to make sure it's not on there. Oh, it is on there. Can't talk about it. Definitely can't talk about Georgia Tech and Clemson. NC State at Wake Forest. I think I can go into this one. Let's open it up and see what's up. So one thing to talk about in this matchup is the fact that NC State's defense is great. Spread is 2.5. Why don't I see this? Knee-jerk reaction is that's absurd. That feels like a lock for NC State. 2.5. I need to add it to the chart. I'm sorry, guys. I just told everybody this is a lock. I feel like NC State's much better than Wake Forest, especially 2.5. So I'm adding it to our lock list for the week. Their defense is stout. I get it. Wake Forest gets a lot of stats. They get a lot of yards or whatever, but they look bad. And I think like NC State is hitting their stride. Back-to-back weeks, beating Clemson, beating Miami. These are great athletes. Wake Forest doesn't have athletes like this. And with MJ Morris at quarterback, just learning the ropes and getting more and more comfortable with the team as the new starting quarterback for NC State, I like NC State in this matchup a lot. So I'm making it a lock, and I'm saying NC State covers the spread. I got to let the MVPs know and make a video about it. That's my bad. Miami at Florida State. I don't think. Sorry, I'm double checking while we're on the fly here. Not on the list. Let's open it up and see what we got. The spread is 14.5. That's why it's not on the list. 14.5 is a lot of points for Florida State. Florida State's offense is primarily throwing the ball. I want to tell you that I think Miami's going to cover this spread and be a lot more competitive than we think. Miami's strength on their defense is their secondary. They are very good in their secondary. Cam Kitchens is back there. Is the best safety in America. I just saw Florida State struggle to throw against Pitt. Pitt has a good secondary as well. Miami's going to get turnovers. Like, they're going to be a problem. The problem for Miami is scoring on a Florida State offense, but I don't see 14.5 points. I don't. I think Miami can be competitive and play in this game. They got the athletes to run and play with you. It's just a matter of, showing up that day. And it's a rivalry game. You're going on the road. You're going to Tallahassee. You want to prove what you can do. 14.5 feels like a lot. I might even stay away from the game completely. But knee-jerk reaction says Miami's secondary is going to make a difference and be in this game. Shout out to Trey Benson. He's going to have to carry the load on this team. I really feel that way. And we'll see if Miami's quarterback play can improve. They have bad issues with their quarterback play because Van Dyke's been injured. So I don't think Van Dyke didn't play his best, right? 3 interceptions. I know exactly what happened. It's a great defense. But 3 interceptions, I don't think he played his best, 2 weeks? 2 weeks they had a backup there. Van Dyke hasn't played a good game in quite a while. It's a damn shame. But I'd stay away. Leave it alone. There's other money to be made. Pitt, Syracuse, that's on the lock list. Can't talk about it. Duke, North Carolina on the lock list. Won't talk about it. Appreciate you guys for being here. Going to take all your questions now. Just a reminder, if you want to ask me questions, keep it ACC related, Conference USA, or independent. NFL counts. Games on tonight, you can ask me. Stuff like that. If you're on TikTok, move over to YouTube. Move over to Discord, and feel free to come ask. All right. Let me get to YouTube. Let me get to Discord first. Discord holds a higher priority for me, guys. I'm going to read Discord and then go from there every time. At least Troy is getting votes in the coaches poll now. Yeah, man. At least they're getting points. Troy looks like a top 25 team to me. Washington can't be the worst undefeated team, and Oregon be the best one-loss team. IMO. Yeah, Salt and SWAT. I think it's just the CYA. It's just their way of saying this is where these teams are. The caliber of these teams is behind the ones above it. They're not trying to say Oregon's the best one-loss team. They're trying to say Oregon's the best team in the Pac-12, and it doesn't matter that they're the best team. They're not going to be put in the top 4, period. But I agree with you completely. Don't you dare, Rico. Louisville has impressed each week, excluding the Pitt week. Nah, Louisville's one of the worst. Louisville's one of the worst. I'm cool with Louisville cupcaking their way to an ACC championship game. Got a $5 $1,400 futures bet on them to win the ACC thanks to Rico. Just need Florida State to choke in that game. So what Evan Kramer's talking about, during one of my ACC shows a couple weeks ago, I went ahead and said, hey, guys, I really like Louisville to be in the ACC championship game. And I pulled up the odds, and I said, look, man, they're going to get there. You might as well go put $5 on it because it's at plus 1,400 right now. And Evan Kramer listened. So that's pretty cool. Congrats to him. I hope it pays off. Coach's poll is a joke, 100%. It's just loyalty to other coaches. Rico, what percentage of the terrible play of USC defense is the coach, and how much is the players? Unfortunately, Chan, that is a Pac-12 question. I know you're bringing it up because I was talking about the polls, but we answer that question on Fridays. Today is ACC, Independence, and Conference USA. Everyone should be on notice. If you're a coach, we the fans need results. Now, not in the 3 to 5 years or get to stepping. Yeah, Willie Bobo's talking about an accelerated expectation because of the transfer portal and because other coaches are succeeding in years 1, 2, or 3. You don't get 3 recruiting classes and for us to see if your culture changes and you build, with your depth chart and all this stuff. No, you could go flip it right now, get the results right now, or we're going to get impatient. Shout out to Zach Arnett or any other coaching staff that's frustrated with it. I don't feel that same way. I think we should give them 3 years, 4 years. I'm cool with Napier and what he's doing at Florida. I'm cool with some of these Shane Beamer at South Carolina. Give them a chance to go out there, find their 4 or 5-star quarterback, and then tie their career success to them. I'm okay with that, personally. I love the NC State game. There you go, Bucky. Go Irish. What up, Tidy Whitey Rob? Rob, where's Tidy Whitey's? Just so we're clear. You said the Louisville bet in the beginning of September. I did, Evan Kramer, because I believed in them that much. That's just on me, bro. That's what I am. Okay, I'm going to move over to YouTube for the chat. There isn't much chat on YouTube. We might be done here. Killing Bird says, thoughts on Trexler Ivy from Charlotte? Shout out to you, Killer Bird. Am I tripping? Charlotte moved to the American, so they're no longer in Conference USA. So I talk about the American on Wednesday, Killing Bird. So I will answer that question on Wednesday. Trexler Ivy being the passing quarterback in the dual quarterback system for Charlotte. Congratulations. Everybody loves Jerry. If you guys don't know, Everybody Loves Jerry is an MVP. She's from Virginia and a Virginia Tech fanatic, okay? She says, let's skip over my Hokies because Pitt can be Louisville. Okay, we can beat Pitt, but transitive property is non-existent in Blacksburg. She's saying they got spanked by Louisville. Virginia Tech did. But Virginia Tech can beat Pitt. That's what she's saying. I'll say this. If you think that way and you're worried about comparing similar opponents or any of that stuff, you can't just go off of common opponents when you look at, especially a team like Virginia Tech or anybody. You can't go off common opponents in college football. It has to be matchups, scheme versus scheme, home and away. There's so many different influences when you're comparing teams and the results. It would be nice to be like, well, this team can beat this team, so they can beat this team. No. It doesn't work like that at all. You wish it did, but it doesn't. So shout out to Virginia Tech for not letting it work that way. They can actually beat some teams despite not being able to beat or be competitive with Louisville. Real talk. Hi, everyone. My day is finishing at the doctor's office. It's all good. Willie Bobo's at the doctor's office. Congratulations. Shout out to him. Lewis Henton says, roll, Tide, roll every single day. Doesn't care what conference we're covering. He just puts up his thumb. It's black, by the way. And 3 elephants because he never forgets. Shout out to him. Let's go back to the Discord. If I run out of questions or comments, the show is over. So do your part. If you're watching, put in a question or a comment. And that goes for TikTokers. If you're watching, move over to YouTube, move over to Patreon, move over to Discord. Come put a question in. I'll answer it. Anything you want to talk about. Back over here. As long as it's ACC, Conference USA, Notre Dame, or Independence, I got you. Back to the Discord. It says, man, I got to say, a lot of Notre Dame fans are toxic. I don't know a lot of Notre Dame fans. What ACC coordinator has the best opportunity for an upgraded job? What ACC coordinator has the best opportunity for an upgraded job? What a great question. I would imagine it's not a coordinator for me. I think Mike Elko at Duke has the biggest upgrade or opportunity for an upgraded job. How about that? There's a head coach in the ACC that probably has the biggest upgrade for a job. I think Mike Elko can get hired at A&M and take over for Jimbo Fisher. I think he can go to Michigan State and fill in after Mel Tucker's been gone. I think he's in for a huge payday. I also think he can backfill some Power 5 programs that are going to lose their coaches to, an upgrade or somewhere else. But I think Elko can get paid a hell of a lot more money if he leaves Duke. After watching what he did at Duke, Elko's got a shot somewhere, man. He could also go get a job in the SEC. He knows the recruiting circles. How about he goes and gets the Mississippi State job? I like a lot of what Elko does. He feels like a guy for me. He feels like the dude. Just saying. That's the one dude I want to see get upgraded this offseason. Duke head coach Elko. My comment. Well, that comment hurts my feelings. Shout out to Tidy Whitey Rob. I'm a Notre Dame fan myself. I'm in the Facebook group, and it's constantly being filled with crybabies. I didn't know there was a Facebook group, but crybabies are not that appealing, so I'm with you there. Oh, Brian, what up, brother? Yeah, it's an older generation that remembers the glory days. My father is one of them. Oh, boy. Oh. My earliest memory of Notre Dame is the Rocket Ishmael. Rocket Ishmael is my earliest memory of Notre Dame. That's all I remember. As a child, I can tell you that obviously I've seen film and highlights from before that. What's so crazy is I can vividly remember 1990 college football and Ty Detmer and then Marshall Faulk, but I can't vividly remember 1989 and Troy Aikman or 88 and Barry Sanders. I don't remember that. I obviously know of it. I've studied it, and I know it. I've seen all the highlights. But my earliest memory, it's really weird. College football, it just starts in 1990. That's where it starts. It's my earliest memory that I have. It's weird. Whereas in the NFL, I think I vividly remember going 1-15, Troy Aikman in his rookie year. And I think that was 89. Super weird. Just stuff I think about sometimes. Do you think Liberty finishes undefeated? Evan Kramer. Unfortunately, Liberty is not Conference USA. They are Sunbelt. And you're asking me a Sunbelt question just because they're playing a Conference USA team. You can't break the rules. I answer Sunbelt questions on Thursdays. So ask me that question on Thursday, and I'll do an assessment on their record and roster. You think you're slick, Kramer. Willie Bobo says, Rico, off the subject, what's your sign? I'm not giving away my sign because I don't want people to know my birthday or get any information on me. You guys are stalkers. I trust none of you. But I'm just going to tell you to float on. Shout out, because my name is Charles, and I'm a Cancer or a Sagittarius or however the song goes. Shout out to that. Willie Bobo, I'm not giving out my sign, though. My sign is peace. That's my sign, the peace sign. Where would Elko go? Just gave you a bunch of lists of where I think Elko will go. Let me get over to YouTube. I'll take these comments over here. What does FSU defense start to get national? When does FSU defense start to get national recognition? So, unfortunately for them, Tyler McNamee, they're always going to be second fiddle. All the star players at Florida State are on the offensive side of the ball, and they're all transfers. When you look at the defensive players that transferred in, I love Jared Verse on defense, but that's not marketable, I guess, and they're not as dominant as you would hope. Like, athletically, they're very good. I like some of the players, but they're not the reason they're winning games. They're not the reason they're winning games. It's going to be Keon Coleman. It's going to be your boy Jordan Travis. When you look at Florida State, you want to give them credit because of these scores, right? You think it's great? The more impressive thing to everybody is these guys are scoring 40 points a game. The most impressive thing is they're scoring 40 points a game. No one's really too pumped up. And look, you played terrible teams. Let's be real. You played terrible teams. Now, you want to be excited about holding LSU to 24 points. But since that, who here has been really good? If you give up 29 to Boston College, is that a great defense? We're not going to find out what their defense is because there are no good offensive teams they're playing all season long. Nobody. They don't have it would be cool if I saw Georgia Tech. That's a great offense. Shut down Georgia Tech. I'd believe you. Right? Shut down. Where's Virginia? Shut down Virginia. I believe you. Shut down Miami this weekend. You want to know what will happen? Shut down Miami at home. Keep them under 20 points. Keep them under 10 points. That's when people will talk about Florida State defense. Love the players on the team, by the way. But I will say this. The vast majority of Florida State defenders are not 4- and 5-star guys. A lot of them are 3-star guys who developed. Florida State was not recruiting great for a while, and then when they finally did start recruiting, they were getting misses. Their 4- and 5-star guys were complete misses. So what Norvell's done is addressed all his misses with the transfer portal, and he's done it great. He's done it splendidly. But there's not a whole lot of innate talent there on the defensive side of the ball at Florida State. And when I say innate talent, and I don't want to disrespect any of these young men, I'm referring to being innate means you were born with it. Innate means you were born with a trait or a skill set. When I look at a lot of the Florida State players, I see players that are being developed into great players, not born with great athleticism, just developing themselves to being good players and good enough to be at that upper echelon, to play at the highest level. And that's really cool. That's a great trait to have. That's an incredible thing. But you can't compare that when you start seeing 5-star defenders on other teams who are just born great. I hope I'm making sense there. Don't get offended by it. I'm just saying it's like remember K-State last year when they won the Big 12? It was so amazing to see K-State win the Big 12. They had Deuce Vaughn, and they had just a good team of good players. And then they went up to Bama in the bowl game, and when they played Bama, all these good 3-stars that were developed by their coach and their team, none of it mattered. It all went away. Why? Because you were going up against 4- and 5-star athletes, and they had good coaching. And they were just better. They were draft picks, and they were just monsters. They were innately better than you. And I think Florida State, on defense, they're going to run into teams that have innately better offensive players. Remember, they're comparing their defense has to stop some of these superstar offenses. That's what they're going to be tasked to do. And at the same time, like Georgia, their defense, innately great. Those players are good, right? So now your offense has to beat them. It's really hard to do. Ask Missouri. Ask whoever's got to play Georgia how hard it is to get open on a route. All of a sudden, every corner on that team can run with you. There's no mismatch anywhere across the field. You got to fight for every first down and yard. It's a little different. Florida State, I think they're doing well. I think they're developing their team, and they're doing what they can. That's how I feel about it. Do you believe the middle bottom of the ACC is pretty much on par with the rest of the Power 5? Do you believe the middle and bottom of the ACC is pretty much on par with the rest of the Power 5? FSU seems to be knocked for strength of schedule, but will play 10 Power 5 teams, 2 of which will be SEC teams. Yeah, Tyler McNamee, playing Power 5 teams doesn't really matter to me. It's playing in your conference that matters. The issue Florida State has is the rankings of all the ACC teams this year and how they're not very good. Not playing Louisville in the regular season, but they play Florida, which is a good out-of-conference game. But you see that. You see the matchups there. Southern Miss. But LSU's good. I don't know, man. Clemson was supposed to be good this year. They should have been ranked top 25. They failed. Miami was supposed to be top 25. I think Florida State's strength of schedule is decent enough. Go undefeated. Who cares? Go undefeated won't even matter. Let's say that. It won't matter. But, yeah, strength of schedule is a fictitious thing made up by the committee and voters, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. In response to playing bad offenses, does Michigan not get praise for holding Big Ten West teams to under 14 just to follow? Thanks, Rico. No problem. Hey, I don't mind follow-up questions. Yeah, well, we can't talk about Michigan because it's not a Big Ten day, but what I will tell you is Michigan is extremely talented on the defensive side of the ball. They have a great defensive coordinator. They have a great defense. They when you watch film and you watch them, I don't give a shit who they're playing against. They're mean. They will hit you in the mouth. Like, they look vicious. They're doing it right. That's all there is to it, man. I watch film on them. It's night and day compared to other teams. Michigan, to me, has the best defense in America. To me. That's what makes that team go. The offense doesn't impress me. The defense, best in America. But it's holding LSU, who fits the criteria, not a data point that maybe you can compete against the elite 4- and 5-star players. Thanks again. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a good data point. I think what it really proves is your offense can score. LSU's defense can't compete. When we know this, we've seen it. LSU's defense gives up a ton of points. You put up 45. Congratulations. Remember, offense versus defense. Holding them to 24, well, what did you really do? You couldn't handle Malik Neighbors. He was open every single play. So you couldn't handle Malik Neighbors, but you handled everybody else. Congratulations. It's going to be problematic when you run into teams with multiple wide receivers. Ohio State, Washington. It's going to be problematic, but you held everybody else in check. So congratulations. We'll see what happens. Don't get too down on yourself, but that Boston College one was ugly. Overtime with Clemson. It's just it's bad. It's bad for business, but they'll be all right. Just keep winning. Doesn't matter. Rico, please tell me why Edrin Cope from Texas A&M is left off the Buckus finalist. He's gotten the most tackles for loss out of all linebackers. So that, Tanner McNamara, is a Big 12 question, and that is on Wednesdays. Wait. That's an SEC question. That's on Thursdays. So you can ask me that question on Thursdays. I'll get back to you on it. Let me get back to the Discord here. Who can Notre Dame realistically get to be their offensive coordinator next year? Brian, you can get a whole lot of people, man. You can get a whole lot of people. There's no limit to that. Today on The Herd, Colin mentioned that Diego Paiva is a Group of 5 Heisman frontrunner and will have his Heisman performance this week against the Hilltoppers. Then he slandered the Western Kentucky mascot. Elko to Mississippi State is a pipe dream, but I'd love it. There you go, Salt in the SWAT. Yeah, it is a pipe dream. Put some money on that dream. Yeah, you didn't watch The Herd. Herd has never heard of anybody in the Group of 5. He didn't know who was on Colorado's team, and they're in the Power 5. He doesn't have a clue about New Mexico State. He probably thinks they play in Albuquerque. I promise you he doesn't know New Mexico State and their location in comparison to New Mexico. I think he doesn't know the difference. No way. Conference USA coaches that could move up to the Power 5. I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's realistic to think that Conference USA, that even Group of 5 coaches can move up to the Power 5. I say it every time you guys ask about it. Coordinators in the Power 5 become head coaches in the Power 5. Retreads become head coaches in the Power 5. Nobody in the Group of 5 is moving up to be a Power 5 head coach unless you have been great for years upon years or you have prior Power 5 experience. So when you look at the head coaches Jerry Kill doesn't want to go. Let's be real. Jerry Kill, the head coach in New Mexico State, does not want to go back to the Big 12 or the Big 10, right? He's a former Minnesota head coach. He's not going anywhere. Western Kentucky is Tyson Helton. That is Clay Helton's brother. He's the king of passing. I think he could go be an offensive coordinator, but I also think he enjoys running the show at Western Kentucky, so that's not happening. Sonny Cumbie at La Tech. He's a former Texas Tech quarterback. Doesn't move. Man, I could go down every team. Dana Dimmel needs to get fired at UTEP. I can go down every team in Conference USA. McIntyre at FIU is a former Colorado head coach. I don't think he'll get hired back in the Power 5 again. Casey Keller at Sam Houston had a terrible year. He is a legend. He's a good coach, but I don't think he's getting hired in the Power 5 anytime soon. Just doesn't feel like it, man. It just doesn't feel like anybody in the Conference USA. If I went down each team, I'm not moved by it. I'm not moved by any of them, to be honest. I don't see any of them being a Power 5 head coach. So I guess thank you for the thought-provoking question, but it's not necessarily a good one. Liberty is Conference USA. No, they're playing ODU. Who's something about? My bad. My bad. They just moved over to Conference USA. Hold up. I am tripping, bro. I am tripping. So, let's go see if Liberty's going undefeated. Thank you, Kramer. Thank you, Evan. I have a lot in my head right now. Let's see if they go undefeated the rest of the way. Yeah, they just got to win. They just got to beat Old Dominion. There you go. They'll be undefeated if they beat Old Dominion, but I think Old Dominion is very competitive. I don't think Old Dominion's getting blown out in this game. I think Old Dominion can score on Liberty. I think Liberty can run on them, but Old Dominion can score on Liberty. You've heard it. You heard it here first. I feel that way. I really do. I still think Liberty will win the game. They're a dominant team. Their running offense is great. But you do this performance they did down here at Sam Houston 21-16. You do this Bowling Green performance you did earlier in the year. Yeah, I like Liberty to go undefeated on the season, but don't get it twisted. They can lose to Old Dominion. It's possible. I like the over in that game, by the way. LOL. Rico was just dodging the question. No, I wasn't dodging the question. I just made a mistake, a mental error. There's a lot going on up here. We need Cooley's yards and touchdowns multiple times during the weekdays. We needed Cooley yards and touchdowns multiple times during the weekdays. Yeah, we did, and he never got it multiple times. Does the ACC team make the playoffs this year? Yeah, Florida State goes undefeated. They're in. Florida State goes undefeated. They're in. Louisville wins the ACC. Probably going to get left out. Just testing to see if Evan will blindly believe him. Hey, Brian. Does Jordan Travis have another year of eligibility? If so, does he come back to Florida State to try to get better draft positioning next year? I'm not sure on that. Let me double check. I will tell you. 2018, red shirt, plays, doesn't count, plays. No, he doesn't have another year of eligibility. So he's done. He's got to go pro, and that's that. That answers the question straight up. He's got to go pro. Does Virginia Tech have any chance to become a powerhouse again? I love their night atmosphere when they were good. They have a chance to be good. Brent Pryce just got to keep some talent at home. They need somebody to have. They need the Vicks and the Currys and everybody else who was on Hampton Roads and Virginia Beach and Newport News and that whole area. They need everybody to stay home, and they'll be good. They got some good high school football around there. They can handle their business if they keep them all. Virginia Tech can do some things, and the transfer portal can change everybody's trajectory and path. Another thing that can help Virginia Tech in the coming years is if Clemson and Florida State leave the ACC. Oh boy, if they leave the ACC and go to the SEC, that leaves the ACC wide open for new perennial powers, and Virginia Tech is as good as anybody in that regard, right? They still got to hit in recruiting, got to hit in the transfer portal, but that's what can happen. There's Lewis Henton. What up, man? He's laughing. Yeah, Michigan has the killer mentality, foot on throat for sure. Yeah, it's just mean, man. It's just mean. Can I pass Freeman your number, Rico? We might actually have swag on offense if we had you. Yeah, Brian, a lot of let me say this, and I'm going to share this with you guys real quick. Agents talk to me in my emails. They send me DMs and messages, and some agents are advocating for me to go get a job at a university, like work for a school. A lot of fans say it. Hey, Rico, would you work for my school, and would you help our recruiting department and tell us things? There are agents out there that want to get me hired on a coaching staff to help assist with recruiting coordinating and maybe doing some scouting and some other things and all this. And what I'll say to them and anybody else is I can't imagine the pay and the job would be any easier or better than what I'm doing now for a living. And I love the joy I have sitting here at home with Kim and Ash. But everybody with any type of input in that regard reaches out to me. They do. It's normal. Coaching staffs reach out. I have, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. What the hell? Hang up, girl. I'm in the middle of a show. Bro. Hey, this is crazy. My TikTok just gave me a damn, get out of here. Yo, some girl just tried to battle me on TikTok. I went to delete it and get rid of it, and it accepted it, and then there's this chick just sitting there. I hate when they spam battles like that. Nonetheless, another reason not to like TikTok. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, opportunities to work in different places, universities reaching out to me, coaching staffs reaching out to me. I'm going to stay in my lane, do what I do, and figure out a life in this social media world. I haven't even decided which route I want to go full time, but we're here. We're doing it. I know a lot of people try to label me a capper. I'm not a capper. I'm an analyst. I'm a sports journalist, but I do provide information to gamblers, so I'll do that. But I also like to provide fan bases with analysis and feedback on their team and try to identify talented players coming out of the transfer portal, coming out of high school. I watched a lot of huddle film today, a lot. I'm done watching high school film for today. I might have watched more tape than I have in a long time. But I had time to do it, so it felt right. Nonetheless, thank you for asking. Yeah, pass my number to anybody, bro. Jamie Chadwell could move up eventually, I think. Yeah, Jamie Chadwell, head coach at Liberty, former head coach at Coastal Carolina, has succeeded everywhere he's gone. What a great coach Jamie Chadwell is. I would hire Jamie Chadwell. If I had a Power 5 team and we needed some resurgence and we've been rough for a couple years, I would hire him. I believe in him. Syracuse should be interested in him. I'm serious. Syracuse should be interested in him because they need to fire Dino Babers like there's no tomorrow. Jeff Hafley might be keeping his job. Shout out to Thomas Castellanos for helping him keep that job. But Jeff Hafley was on a flaming hot seat for a while, and now he's there. Tidy Whitey, Jordan Travis has been in college for 13 years already, bro. I thought Travis had a COVID year hidden in there like JT Daniels. Everyone has a COVID year. 2020 doesn't count towards your thing. What he can have that you guys aren't accounting for is a medical red shirt. It's oftentimes I can miscount a medical red shirt. That's the only waiver that can be miscounted when I look at their years. I already know 1 year is going to be the red shirt, 2018. 1 year is going to be the COVID year, and then you have 4 years left. If you played at Virginia last year, shout out to Virginia, all their players got an extra year of eligibility. 2022 did not count for anyone on the Virginia football team last year because of the mass shooting and the killing of their players, of their team. So that's another thing that you need to keep track of is when those players hit the portal, they're going to have a total of 6-7 years in college because they got the COVID year, a redshirt year, that extra year from the shooting, then 4 years of football, that's 7. And if anybody gets a medical redshirt, that's 8 years. So that's pretty crazy, just so you know. Redshirt, graduate, COVID year, 4 to play. It's possible, I think. Will Rogers is in the same boat as Mississippi State. He's a true senior this year, has 2 more years of eligibility left as a graduate senior in a COVID year. So, yeah, you just have to know what everybody does. Does Notre Dame join a conference? Tidy Whitey, eventually, their TV contract is no longer superior to everyone else's. A big part of why Notre Dame was so great in the late 80s and early 90s is they were the first team in America to get a national TV contract. And the minute they got all their games on national TV, that made them must-see TV. That helped recruits want to go there, and you start winning everything because of that. But now all games are on TV. Everybody's televised. You don't have any advantage over anyone else. So at that point, everybody's closed the gap. The money isn't even that huge of an incentive anymore. But I would imagine if that happens and they join a conference, then the entire ACC moves over to NBC, and they probably get outbid and they buy the rights for all ACC to NBC. But that's just a wild guess and a stab at it. Right now, you're looking at ESPN willing to pay whatever it takes to add Notre Dame to the ACC, right? So these TV contracts are going to dictate all alignment moving forward. More power to them. I hope it happens. Let me go back to YouTube. Got more questions over here, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see what they say here. Rico, please tell me. My bad. Rico, my G. What up, Black Moans? Good to see you. Every week been saying them BC boys cooking. Boston College boys cooking. Shout out to you. Does Jamie Chadwell make a case for going to the Power 5 head coaching job? David Pithen just hit on it. I think he's a good coach. So, yeah, he makes a case. I think he's a hell of a coach, if I'm being real. Trying to word this better. Are teams like Boston College, Georgia Tech, mid-level teams really any different than Arkansas or South Carolina? I get playing 9 versus 8 conference game is big for you, but talent-wise, is the gap closing? Oh, yeah, the gap's closed. Those are good teams. Well, Georgia Tech closed the gap. Georgia Tech's a good team. They use the transfer portal well. They're recruiting great. Georgia Tech's a talented team. Yep. And if you ever wanted to know how good Georgia Tech is, their starting running back transferred to Bama and was the best player at Bama, right? Their starting quarterback transferred to Nebraska and won the starting job. Like, the talent on these teams are good. The coaching's bad. You fire the coach and the players can go start elsewhere. You don't think McCollum, he's now starting at North Carolina after being at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's transfers are starting all over the place. It's just a bad team when they were all together because the coaching staff was bad. Boston College, they just had a DB leave, and he's starting at Texas A&M right now. Like, it's very normal. Boston College had Trey Flowers at receiver. They got talent. Bad coaching. They got talent, and it's transferring all over the place and playing well or getting drafted. It's bad coaching. So there isn't a huge talent gap there. I think the middle of the ACC is as good as anybody else. I think they can keep up with anybody else, play with anybody else. The problem is bad coaching. Piss poor coaching. Shout out to Satterfield for finally leaving the conference. Shout out to Babers for being bad. You got Elliott still being bad for no reason at all. Dabo refusing to do things right. It's just, That's what I think when I look at the ACC. You're a premier conference. Try coaching like it. That's all I'm saying. Let me get back over here. We're going to end it. Already in motion with the Big and the NBC deal. There you go. Travis is done. Yeah, I think NBC still gives Notre Dame a good contract, good enough to stay independent for a few more years. Yeah, okay. There's only so many TV channels, but I hear you. They're going to stay independent for a few more years. That's on them. Hey, guys, thanks for the questions. I hope you got the breakdown. I'm going to post this on Patreon. Obviously, it'll be posted on YouTube. Remember, your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I don't have my outro song.